Coca-Cola. There we go.
Recording in progress.
Meeting in progress.
Oh,
Indeed.
No, I said recording in progress.
Yes, that too.
Oh, hey, first.
What's going on, fellas?
I'm the only one here right now, so fella.
Oh, no, you're not.
Oh, no, I'm not.
No, you're one of 4 at the moment. I hope we have more than 4 show up for this talk. There he is.
Hello.
Hola.
Hola, como salami.
Bien.
Yeah, this is going to be embarrassing if we only have 4 people for Katie when she gets here with her area manager and Pryor participant.
Well, maybe our buddy will show up. Michael, was that his name?
I know Matthew said.
Oh, Matthew, not Michael. Yeah. It was Matthew.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll show up.
And possibly Sabrina. Well, she never said, but maybe.
She never said what?
Well, I asked because I formed me and Matthew formed a group, and we have a group chat on like on Facebook, and I asked if everyone was going to be coming on. Matthew said for sure, but she never said.
Let me get on here really quick. Don't miss Katie from Refreshing Films discussing Coke. Oops. Admit. Here we got Mr. Colin. I wonder if I should, let's see, I'll do this. Whoops. There we go. Hopefully that, I should probably leave that open during the discussion, huh? Put that down here. Okay. Here we go. Now they're starting to roll in. They are going to come in. I got them coming in at 3:15-ish. So that'll give us time to sort of get situated. There we go. Yeah. All right. So do you guys have your questions ready and your, we're not going to talk about the concepts from web courses today. I'm going to give Katie the floor because she's going to go over the Coke document, the PDF, and some other materials that she has, and then introduce 2 other people that are going to talk about the competition. So that's probably going to burn an hour, hour and a half. And then I think we're all going to be ready to take a nap
Hmm.
or something. I just ate lunch, so I'm ready for a nap anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus me. Not so good. Has there been a lot of chatter? I only monitor the capstone what is this, Discord server, so I don't know what's going on at any of the other social media sites from UCF. Have you guys heard chatter about this? Are people talking it up, or is it just sort of laying there?
No, just doing a few PMs with the team I got so far. We still need one more person though.
Couple of PMs, yeah, production meetings.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, a PM could mean just about anything.
Yeah, that's true. It could be private messaging, could be let's see,
It
what
could
else?
it could mean the afternoon time.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. We got a couple of minutes, though. If anybody has anything that they want to discuss before I bring Katie in, we can certainly do that. This month's what we're talking about, funding and grants, which is not my strong suit. So that's why I brought in this conversation. So at least we could spend some quality time together this week. Variety Insight. Oh, what's going on Variety today? Here we go. Not much. Jungle Cruise, Quarter Mill. Sounds like a web show. Candyman, Universal Pictures. Oh, these are receipts. Uh-huh. Wow. Receipts are pretty low. Free Guy, less than $1 million after 2.5 weeks. No. Yeah. Interesting. Anybody here trail box office receipts? Do you look at that side of the business at all?
Not really.
I'm getting it. I don't know why. I asked them for their Thursday jobs edition and they sent me their box office receipts edition instead. Don't know what I'm going to do with that information, but I don't know. Course mods. This will be module 5. Yeah. Okay. Grants and institutional funding. Yeah. That's definitely not me. I'm a studio funded guy. 3:07. About 12 minutes to Katie Pryor. I'm just filling time here, Matthew, until our Coca-Cola reps are going to join us. So it's open
Awesome.
forum on anything you're working on this week or open discussion regarding filmmaking.
I actually was trying to upload my reel to YouTube to share today, but I had some complications with the rendering from DaVinci, so I had to re-render it. So now it's still uploading to YouTube and everything.
Oh, wow.
I hate having to choose between different file formats like what was it, like DMXH and like H.265 or H.264. It's such a pain. And then you don't know what you get until you like actually see it on YouTube.
You can't load Avid DNX to YouTube in the first place, can you? It's got to be H.264.
It can be H.265, but I've also seen that they've allowed the other format, DMX. What's it called? Avid what?
Avid DNX.
Yeah, Avid DNX. It says it it takes the format, but it takes a lot of time because it's such a big file size.
It cross
But-
converts it on their end.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But
it'll
then,
upload your file, but then they cross convert it at
Right.
YouTube.
That's why I'm honestly just thinking about shelling out the money for a Vimeo account, just because Vimeo has the best like formatting processing
Yeah.
for people's videos.
But Vimeo is kind of hard to access if you're not a member. They kind of push you to join, which
Oh,
then
yeah.
restricts your audience access to your content, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's like gives and takes with everything right now, but other than that, no. If it uploads anytime soon, I'll definitely I can show it at the here or at the end of class if you guys want to see it.
Okay.
Oh, and I wanted to say that I actually made another demo reel as well. So
Reworked the one
yes,
from last week.
yes, and also when I was watching, last class, the video,
Uh-huh.
that you were talking about the beginning part. That's actually from a music video, the Imagine Dragons, that I did for UCF editing too.
Oh, that wasn't your content either.
No.
Bummer. Oh
Yeah.
man. Well, you got to get that out then if it's not your content. I mean, unless is it an editing reel?
Uh,
What
and
kind of reel? What job is it intended to help you get?
I mean, I would like to.
What kind of career do you want to have?
Well, I mean, I like editing music videos, but also like doing like making ads because or like
Like commercials?
yeah, commercials. Like,
How apropos to today's conversation. There just has to be a way for you. I mean, because it was what was it? It was like 4 shots and it was just straight cuts. So in terms of it being, an editing, a demonstration of editing, it 4 straight cuts and one of them was a little short, doesn't really do much to sell you as an editor. And then it's not your content either. That could be problematic.
Okay.
Unfortunately. I mean, if you
Okay,
did
so-
something interesting with a re-edit, for instance, of that material, and then you could say, uh, such and such a song by Imagine Dragons, music video, edit reimagined, and then put it up there, then it becomes, an analysis of an alternate cut, which is a different kind of justification for having it there. There's a guy that put up, in Star Wars at the end when Obi-Wan is fighting Darth Vader and he gets cut down by the lightsaber. So there's a guy on YouTube that has done a digital reimagining of that scene.
yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it.
So right in the titles in the beginning and the end, if I'm not mistaken, he says this is a reimagining of that scene, using digital animation and editing techniques and stuff. And so you go into that clip with the understanding that, okay, what he did is he took material and he re-edited it, but he's also enhanced it with, his own CG and stuff. So you're looking at it from those standpoints and it's very clear what the intent is there. So I think as long as you make it clear to people what you're trying to show them when you use that material, and then you credit who that material belongs to in terms of intellectual property, I think that covers you.
Right. And also, I Googled it, and the show is called Leverage.
Leverage. That's right. What did I say it was?
Revenge.
No, yeah, Leverage. You're right. That's right. Leverage. Right. With Timothy Hutton.
Mhm.
Yeah. Leverage. Yes, I get those confused. All right, we're not far from Ms. Pryor at this point, so I won't share my screen until we're ready to go. Then I think I'll splash their PDF up there for us to remind us of what we're doing here. So that's good. So did you put the new version on web courses, or how are we gonna get a look at it?
I haven't posted it on web courses. I'm still getting an opinion from one of my friends. She said she was going to take a look at it, see if it, see if it's any good or if I need to make some changes here or there. And yeah, it's like what I like to do is make multiple versions, and each time I get some more advice or I feel that, oh, well, maybe I could change this or whatever. And I'd like to make more versions until I get it just right.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if you want to splash it up here for us after Coca-Cola's done speaking, I mean, you're welcome to do that.
Okay.
We are moments away now. I told her 3:15, and then she emailed me. She said it could be as late as 3:20. So we got maybe 5 minutes here. So anybody, what's everybody watching? What's everybody reading? What's going on here? You should be consuming media at this point.
I went and watched the new Cop Shop movie yesterday.
Cop Shot? What's that?
Cop Shop.
Oh, Top Shop.
Cop Shop. There. Yeah.
Shop.
Yeah.
Right.
Directed by Joe Carnahan. It's kind of like I saw it as like Reservoir Dogs meets Bad Times at the El Royale meets Free Fire of sorts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like one location sort of action thriller. I thought it was pretty good. Kind of an homage to like old, seemed like 80s, 90s action cop thrillers.
Cool. Nice. I got the first two. I've seen the first two. I don't know the third reference, but
Free Fire.
Free Fire. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
that one's pretty good. That's Ben Whitley, I think. Ben Wheatley. Ben Wheatley, yeah.
Ben Wheatley.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Ms. Pryor now. And I'm going to go ahead and make her a co-presenter. Where'd she go? Here we go. Make co-host. There we go. Hi, Katie. How are you? Oh, you're muted. Let me unmute you here. Let's see if I can. Where'd your name go? Oh, there she is. Ask to unmute. There
Hi,
she is.
everybody. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
People
See,
are
I'm on-
trickling in at this point, and I just put another announcement on our Discord server for the class to see. I noticed we picked up Nick from my screenwriting class, so we've got
Okay.
individuals here coming from outside of Capstone as well, which is a good sign.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's great. We're just waiting on my program director, Aviva. She's actually going to kick off the
Okay.
presentation.
I've made you co-host so you can share your screen with us. I have the I'm not sharing my screen at the moment because I had everybody tiled, but I have the homepage of the PDF here kind of, and then I have a copy of your email that you sent me with the links.
Okay,
What else
perfect.
do I have? And then I have, I had the participating schools bookmarked here so we could see the competition. And I showed that to my writing class, and we got all fired up. So
Oh, excellent.
yeah.
Well, we had, UCF last year was the first year in the program, and we got a lot of applications. I think maybe 14 or 15 from your school, which is really excellent, especially for first years. So we look forward to more. Let me see. Mike, I don't know how well Zoom does. So in the brief, I don't remember what page it is. There's 2 videos.
In this one, the
Yeah, in this
PDF that you sent
program,
me?
yeah, there's 2 videos. It's towards the end. It's, I think, under program inspirations. And at some point, I would love to show those, but we definitely don't need to do them right now.
You go to page 20 and see. Oh, look what we found.
They might be. That's so
These.
funny.
what's
No,
this?
not those links. Maybe go one more.
Thank
Nope,
you.
that's the end. Okay.
Yeah,
So
let me do
earlier
this.
than
It's easier to
20,
do
I
this.
guess.
Approximate timeline.
Okay,
Commercial
so these
examples.
commercial examples. Okay, so at some point, I would love to play these. It might be easier. If you
Yeah,
wanted to play them and then we'll talk about them, but
Yeah.
but I just, if we want to keep this.
Let me
page, and
do
then
a
I could-
test really quick and see what this does, if it opens up into a new window or
Okay,
allow. Oh, I see what it's doing. Okay, and then I can just go boom.
yeah, perfect.
Does it look, it looks a little jaggy. on
Yeah,
my end.
so this is actually a very, very old spot. So the videos are probably a little pixelated, but you get the idea. So,
Okay,
but yeah, we
Yeah,
can, okay,
it's
great. I'm really glad
not
that
real
works.
sharp. Oh, look, we got more. Oh, here's Olivia. All right, so I know that it'll open up into its own window, so that's cool. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that'll
this
be
is
great,
page
yeah.
16. Are there any other that's
No.
15. No,
that
inspiration
is-
and references. Okay.
no,
Page
that is-
16.
Yeah,
Very
that,
good.
and we'll get into that a little bit later.
Okay. Is this also this is, I can go to page. Well, I'll go back to page 1 and then I can dial up page 16 when we're ready for it. You want me to follow along page count wise with this? Or are you going to do that on your end or what?
I believe Aviva can do it on her end, and then
Okay.
and then
All right.
we're going to sort
Then-
of tag team.
Then I will, I have to make her a co-presenter as well. I don't know if I can, I don't know how many I can do. So let's,
If you need to switch, we can do, or if you can only do more than one, or if you can only do
Let's
2,
see.
sorry, then you could make her the co-host, and then she actually, we have another coach meeting,
seems
so
to be
she's gonna
working.
hop on. Oh, perfect.
I've got, I'm hosting. I've got you and Olivia now as
Okay.
co-hosts. And I think we got one more lady joining us. Yeah.
Yeah, so Aviva, she is the program director.
Okay. So it should work. So we should be okay.
Excellent. Yeah, let me just shoot her a quick message. Otherwise, we can get started.
And can everybody hear okay? Is there any issues with audio at all?
No, everything sounds good.
Are my thumbnails in the way? Do you guys see this panel of thumbnails or do you just see the Coca-Cola stuff?
Nice, I see it.
You see my thumbnails over here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got to make those smallish. How's that? Is that better? Okay. Gouda. Let's see what's going on. See if anybody, oh, nothing yet. I know we gave out a lot of PDFs. A lot of PDFs went to students. So here's Aviva. Here we go.
That's great. Yeah. Have the students, have you guys, you can just maybe show your hands. Have you guys had a chance to read through the brief? No. Okay. That's
Hopefully.
okay.
Some more. Make co-host. Yes. And ask her to unmute. There we go.
So right now we're looking at your screen, right, Mike?
Yes, this is me. And
Okay.
if you want, you can select what I have to do is stop my share and I think, and then you can do yours. I think is how that's got to work.
Okay.
Are
Hi,
you ready
Aviva.
to-
Are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Awesome. There you are.
There we
So
go.
Aviva, we're here with Mike, who is a professor at UCF. And then there's a lot of students in here.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all.
So Aviva, did you want Mike to run through the brief or did you want to share your screen?
I think I'll share my screen. It's
Okay.
just easier. I know which slides I like to talk about.
Okie doke.
So if you don't mind, I would love to share my screen.
So I think I have to stop sharing mine,
Sure.
and then I think you can share yours.
Great.
There we
There
go.
you go. Same doc, different share. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the call. We are super excited to be here. We didn't run a program last year due to the pandemic. And so this is extra special because we love doing this. So we think we have a really exciting program for you guys today. And what I'm going to do is this brief that you see on screen right here. Everybody should have access to this brief. If you don't, obviously let us know, and we can send you some stuff in the chat. But I'm going to highlight just the key things from this brief. There's a lot of stuff that's in here. We're going to go over today the filmmaking challenge and the program overview. And then Katie is going to go over how to submit your script and the jurying process. But there's a lot of stuff that we're going to kind of glaze over just because we only have an hour. So make sure you do read this to cover. We spend a lot of time perfecting this brief for a reason, and the official rules are linked in here, and they're very important. So we highly recommend you check that out. So we're going to start by just going through the program and how it all works. So this year we are asking students to script for 50-second spots. The total runtime is 60 seconds. So we'll break that down. Students will script for 50 seconds of content, and then there'll be a 10-second bumper. The total runtime is 60. It's really simple. These will be available in Coca-Cola partner theaters nationwide. We will only be selecting 4 scripts, and all of those 4 scripts, each of them will receive $18,000 to produce their film and capture the behind the scenes. And, it's important to note how production works with us. This is a real world experience. It's an opportunity for students to work alongside clients and to create work as if you were an agency. And so you get to go through anything that a big agency would go through, like Wieden & Kennedy or Leo Burnett. Like, this is the same process. So it's great experience. And we break it down. So it's pre-production, production, and post-production. We provide a handbook and students are mentored through those phases, but you will have to do brand integration and legal approvals and get approvals on props and crew and cast. And, the client is on every single film set to help ensure that the brand comes to life as needed and that you guys are feeling supported. And then there are set dates and times where you will share your film in the post-production process and get feedback. So, you're really making a spot alongside a client, which is often a different relationship than what students have experienced in the past. And
Aviva, do you want us to hold our questions until the end, or do you want us to just kind of chime in when we?
I think I'll give you cues and breaks. And I don't know if there's a chat feature in this where I will be able to see questions, but you're welcome to type out questions if you have it, and I'll open it up for questions when I get through a section.
Okay.
Yeah. So the student finalists will be responsible for putting together their crew. And one of the positions that you'll hire is a social media manager. It's not only important to create a film, but it's important to know how to market that film as well. And the social media manager is an integral part. They will work closely with your behind the scenes team to create content that markets your work. Once your films are completed, they will go to an industry panel that we call our Red Ribbon Panel. And it's comprised of studios and movie theater executives, of course, Coca-Cola, and they will jury the films and determine the grand prize winning film. And that is the film that will actually go on screens nationwide. So we don't get all of them on screen, or we don't guarantee that we get all of them. We only guarantee the grand prize winning spot. A few things in terms of what to expect if you become a finalist. You can hire some professionals. We try to keep it as many students or recent graduates as possible. We kind of have this like 80-20 rule. You know, our goal with this program is to help elevate people's careers. And so we really want to see as many young people involved in the program as possible. And I say young, that's relative. We've got filmmakers that are in film school at all ages. We will provide you a handbook, which I mentioned before. There's 3 things that you have to submit in order to apply for this program: a budget, an application, and a script. You can go above and beyond that. I find that students get really intimidated by the budget, and I would encourage you not to get intimidated by the budget. You can check it out. We have a resources folder. The budget is in there. And you can see, you know, the structure of the document in advance, and it's super basic. It's not nearly anything as complicated as some of the movie magic stuff that you guys do. So please don't be intimidated by it. It's also not part of the selection process. It's just, we ask for it in advance because A, it's important to know how you plan on breaking down that $18,000. But B, the moment you get selected, it's something that we work with you on. So it is important. You will get an in-kind access to a Cinemark or an AMC theater in your area to film in. So that's something to note. The team composition. So you must apply for the program as a team of 2. If you get accepted to the program, you can hire your as big or small of a crew as you want with your $18,000 budget. We are really big champions of building a more inclusive entertainment industry. And it's important to note that these films are going to be playing on screens all across the country in different communities. So diverse and varied perspectives is very important. And there's a lot of different ways that you can think about that. And one of the things that we really encourage with filmmakers is that when it comes to putting together your crew or your partner, that you're really looking at all the amazing talent that you have access to on campus. So don't just think about, you know, your best friends. Think about all the amazing talented people that you have access to, and use this program as an opportunity to make those bridges and make those connections. If you yourself don't have a lot of experience, you might want to partner with someone that does, because that'll make a well-balanced partnership. It's also important to note that of the 2 team members that apply together, one must be the producer. The other can be any other key crew role. So producer director, producer editor, producer set designer, producer DP, but you must apply with a partner. Okay, so before we jump into the student challenge, does anybody have any basic questions around how the program itself works? And just keep in mind that Katie's going to go through how to apply in a little bit.
I know that I was a little confused about the total running time of the completed content, because I understood that there was behind the scenes content that needed to be produced as well. Are you saying that the commercial, the deliverable, is 50 seconds plus a 10-second bumper, and then the behind the scenes is additional content?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so now it is a 50-second spot. And then are the bumpers provided by Coca-Cola, or do the students have to create those?
The students will be creating those, but they don't have to script for that. So
Okay.
they will create that as part of the program. So the total runtime for the actual content is 60 seconds.
60
It'll be a
overall,
50-second spot with a 10-second bumper, total runtime being 60. That is the deliverable for the content that is in competition that will potentially go on to winning the grand prize. In addition to that, students create a variety of behind the scenes content through capturing their behind the scenes. So
Okay.
there's more than one behind the scenes deliverable, and we don't dictate a specific number. We don't say you have to do 5 things, you have to do 10 things. But we do capture the behind the scenes, and there is a separate crew that works on capturing that and creating that content.
And then the bumper, creation of the bumper is going to be guided by your branding department.
Yes, exactly. So that's they don't have to script for it. Right now, we're just asking students to think of 50 seconds of content. If they get accepted and come into the program, then we will work with them on the bumper and all those pieces of the production.
Okay. Do you guys know what we're talking about when we say bumper? Matthew, you know. You okay with that? You understand what that is? Okay. That's where the branding is all coming in, the logos and how they present that logo and that brand. For instance, I've done clients like Toyota and stuff where the logo is very specific and certain ways that you can move it, animate it, color it, work with it. It's the lead into your actual content. It's something that sort of bookends in the beginning and sometimes the beginning and the end around your commercial, and it has all of the branding specifics kind of embedded in it. Okay, great.
Great. Any other questions about how the program works?
Would that also entail like the bumper? Would that mean that the Coca-Cola would provide like the graphic artists and everything to provide those like ads and everything, or?
I literally don't want you guys to think about the bumper. It's irrelevant to this phase of the program. So we will help you with that if you get accepted. So just don't even think about it right now. Just focus on that 50 seconds of content. Yeah. Okay, so we got a question, and so I'll just read it out loud. Can the producer on the 2-person team take another role, such as producer, director, or something like that? Absolutely. We have had a few people that do like directing and cinematography, or take on multiple roles. We do like to talk that through with people. We encourage people, because you're all managing this program on top of school, on top of work, on top of other life. And so we do encourage you to bring on players to help make a well-rounded crew. But it is something that we're open to discussing, but you do still have to apply with a partner, even if you're thinking you want to take on 2 roles. So hopefully that answered your question.
I'll keep the chat box open on my screen and monitor it for you so you don't have to do
Great.
both things.
Great. Does anybody have any other questions? These are great questions. All right. Well, we're going to jump into the student challenge. These are the types of scripts that we're looking for this year. And I will say right off the bat, we create a different challenge every year. So if you look at past films, you might see certain trends one year that you don't see in a next, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that we're doing the same thing this year. In fact, this year we're doing something pretty different than what we've done in the past. So just say that up front. Oops. Okay. So what we're hoping to do this year is leverage the following elements to celebrate the big screen experience. We really want to showcase what makes going to the movies special. And I think if you look at the past films, you'll see a lot of Coca-Cola and popcorn branding. You might even see certain movie theater branding. Yes, Coca-Cola, this is Coca-Cola's program, so they're an integral part of the process. We work really closely with them, and you can't enjoy a movie without a delicious, refreshing Coca-Cola and popcorn. So they will certainly make cameos in your film, but I don't want you guys to focus on that. If you get accepted, we will work with you to integrate the brand organically into your spot. People tend to see Coke and go like way over the board with the branding. And, in truth, Coca-Cola is a very well recognized brand. Our hope this year with opening it up to 50 seconds worth of content is that we really want you guys to focus in on the stories. We really want you to focus on these 2 bullets right here. So I think the first bullet is really the big bullet to note. We want to celebrate the magic of the movies, and filmmakers have a perspective on this that is really beautiful. I mean, a lot of you are hoping to get your films on the big screen one day. And so we really love the way filmmakers sort of romanticize that magic of the movies. And we really want you guys to tell stories that bring that to life. So ask yourselves, what does the magic of the movies mean to you? I mean, certainly it's not just that the screens are large, right? Like that might help with the experience, but there's more to it than that. And we really want to explore stories that celebrate that magic. I will also say that, you know, after the past year and a half, you know, we've all missed the movies, and certainly the at-home movie experience has become more and more prevalent, as it certainly should. I mean, look, I love watching movies on the couch. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's certainly a different ritual than going to a movie, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like turn off the lights and turn off my cell phone. Like, I'm often like watching the movie and still getting texts, and like, it's a different experience. And so what we want you to do is pause and remember what it's like to actually go see a movie, and how that's a very special experience. And how it's one of the few activities where you actually voluntarily shut off your phone and go to be transported and visit these other worlds and connect with yourself or with other people. It's one of those activities that you can do where you can do it by yourself and it's totally not weird. So I really want you guys to focus on that. The other aspect of this year's theme is to think about the need to take a break. I mean, I think more than ever, we are always plugged in. We're always connected to our devices. And nowadays we're doing Zooms like crazy, but it's time to remind people for real connection, you know? And oftentimes going to a movie is an opportunity to get together with friends and to like do something together. So think about that as well. So our theme for this year, I mean, our target audience for this year is 15 to 25. All the content that you create is going to play on screens from rated G through rated R films. So it has to be appropriate for all ages. And we do some diving into teen insights and youth insights, I should say, because I'm really trying to encompass that 15 to 25-year-old range here. And I actually sat in a pitch session this morning, and I will say I heard a lot of ideas that are like for youth of a different time frame. So just remember, we're talking about youth today. So these are people that grew up in the digital era. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know about how old everybody is on the phone, but like I grew up in a world where we didn't have internet. So, you know, that's a relatively new thing. And there's a lot of people like, so just think about that as you're thinking about like the ages of people you're relating to. Like we had a pitch where somebody's parents were their chaperones, and like, you know, these days going to a movies is one of those experiences where people will actually let their kids go on their own, or parents might go see another movie. And so just again, remember that we're talking about like people now instead of thinking back. I would love to play a video and just see if it works, but I don't know. What do you think? I'm hesitant to do that because it's a whole streaming situation. Have you guys had a...
Mike and I tested it earlier, and it actually works. I think if you click on the YouTube link in the brief of it should open a new window.
Sorry, I'm flipping through fast. Okay. And then
We'll see. If not, Mike can probably do it as well.
okay, but you can't see that, or can you? Can you guys see? You're still seeing the brief. Okay.
We're still
Yeah.
seeing the brief, yeah.
I want to play this video. Okay. YouTube, here we come. All right. Does that look better? You guys can see that?
Yep.
All right, let's hit play.
Are we muted? Are you muted?
I can't hear the sound.
Nope, it's not muted.
Okay, So before I show the next video, that is obviously a Coke commercial. You guys are not making Coke commercials. You know, we have a different theme for this year. You guys are creating 50-second spots. Coke is a part of those spots, but it's not a straightforward commercial play. So just differentiating those two things. The reason why I've included this as an example is because it's a 30-second spot, and the director did a really good job. I mean, you know, they're the core of the story. The core of this spot is tapping into a key insight. We've all gone to a convenience store or a restaurant and like poured a Coke and like looked left, looked right, stolen a little sip. Are we stealing? We don't know, but we're doing it anyway. We're going back for more. We can all relate to that because it's something that we've all done at some point in our lives. And Coke is just like making a joke that this is like not a crime. You're not going to get arrested for this in any state. But they're making a 30-second spot, and the director had to be very specific with what things they were going to show in order to play out this moment, right? And so you have to build this tension. Am I doing something wrong? Am I stealing right now? And so that, you know, in order to do that, you have to build out this moment where the guy like takes a sip, looks left, looks right, looks to see if the worker is, you know, watching him. You really need that. Otherwise, people are going to miss the joke. Because they had to build that time into this 30-second spot, they had to make some hard choices. We don't establish the convenience store. We don't even see the guy entering the convenience store. We don't even see him approach the fountain machine. The spot starts and he's already there because there wasn't time for those three moments, those three beats to happen. And I bring this up because this is oftentimes where we see students struggle. You really have to get to the core of your story and figure out what beats you absolutely need for the joke or the payoff to really hit home. Otherwise, you're going to miss the point. And so think about that with your scripts. It'll really go a long way. Okay, I'm going to show you guys one more spot, and I've got to do this whole.
That's part and parcel with what we just talked about in writing class. Anybody who's here from 3102, premise. Understand the core theme so you can get right to the message right away.
Now, are you guys seeing my screen now with this new spot loading?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yeah, but the volume wasn't working on the last one.
Oh, you couldn't hear it?
No.
The whole time you couldn't hear it?
No.
Oh, well, that's a bum out. Let me try that again.
No sound for this one either.
Maybe Aviva just send the YouTube link in the chat so everybody can just open it on their own browser, listen,
Yeah.
and then hop back.
That seems easy enough.
Let's do that. I don't remember if we had audio when we tested it or not, now that I think about it.
We did, but for some reason.
Okay. So we've gone ahead. I've sent it in the chat. So if everybody wants to view it, I'll mute my line and you just tell me when you're ready.
Here we go. Oh, video unavailable. That's odd.
Yep, video unavailable.
Same here.
Do you want me to try it from my end? Because I think the consensus was that the audio worked at my end. We could try that real quick if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and do that, Mike?
Let's see what we got here. Page 16, right? 16.
Correct, yeah.
7 a.m. Allow.
Oh.
Awesome.
Okay. Do you want me
That
to
was
show the other
great.
one again for the audio or?
What do you guys want? Does anybody want to chime in and say if they feel like they got it from what I said, or if they want to see it?
Should we just try it?
Yeah, I think we should go ahead and show it, Aviva. I think because, the music helps a lot with the spot too, so.
Okay, great.
Let's see what we got then.
I'm a criminal, sent to swipe and steal.
Yeah, I think that was kind of relevant.
So, so you can see they're playing up on a joke there with that one. And I just really wanted to point out, what Michael said about premise. And that's going to be really important as you guys are putting together spots, because we only have a minute. So if we're delivering a message or a story, we need to focus on the elements that are required in order for that story to come through clearly. And then the second spot that we watched, Under Pressure, I love that spot. It's a beautiful spot. It was something that Coke did with the intention of highlighting all the pressure that teens are under and reminding them to take a break. The reason why I included that spot in this brief is because it was a failed attempt. Teens hated that spot. They really rejected it. It's hard for me to hate that spot because I love that song. But essentially, it was, the scales were out of balance. It was too much pressure and it stressed them out. It was too lifelike, too realistic. So what we learned from that is, like, while we can highlight that there's a need for something or a problem or, pressure, stress, anxiety, we got to keep it even. We got to remember that people want to be uplifted by these kinds of things. They don't want to be more stressed out. So that's important as you think about your stories. So I wanted to point that out. A few other things that I'll say about the creative, and then I want to open it up to questions because I actually have to hop off at 4, and Katie is going to take on the rest of the call and tell you guys how to apply. So get your questions ready.
Shall I stop share now so you can go back to controlling the PDF?
Sure.
Okay.
I would just say that we do accept scripts with VFX and animation, but you do want to think about a few things. This is a brand, and they are responsible for responsibly marketing their brand and products. So you're not allowed to bring any product to life. So a Coke can't suddenly have human characteristics. You have to avoid cartoon-like characters because we don't market Coke to kids. And these are going to be playing in front of G movies. So you've got like the latest Pixar film and then this spot. So we've got to be very sensitive to that. And you have to be careful about claims that you're making. So we get a lot of scripts that are like, somebody takes a sip of the Coke and then they have the confidence to kiss the girl. That's probably okay. And we get other spots that are like, they take a sip of the Coke and they grow muscles like the Hulk and like run around the theater. And it's like, that's not okay for 2 reasons. Number one, we can't promise that Coke is going to make you have muscles for obvious reasons. I wish that was a side effect, but it's not. The other thing is the Hulk is a trademarked character, so we can never just loosely steal that or play off of that. And other movies might do stuff like that, but in the world of commercial branding, stuff like that we are not allowed to do. It's a little bit of a risk. So anyway, I think I've gone through the majority of the important stuff, and I really would love to open it up for questions before I have to hop off. Any questions so far?
Sean, did you have your hand up earlier and we missed that?
Yeah, I saw a recurring thing that there's no dialogue in either of them. So is there like no dialogue allowed in the things?
Dialogue is absolutely allowed. And I would say usually like some of the spots have dialogue and some don't. Now that they're 50 seconds, I expect more of them to have dialogue.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that it's allowed. It's not, we're open to that.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
I know that from my initial conversations with Katie, at some point, I know we talked about the submission process, and then we were talking about a culling of the submissions down to a semi-finalist stage. Was that when we were going to narrow it down to like a dozen semi-finalists, and then it was initially one, now it's 4 ultimate winners now?
No. So, well, Katie will go into the selection and jury process in a bit, but I'll just jump into that. So we narrowed down the thousands of submissions we get to 15 semifinalists.
Okay.
Those students we contact, we say, we love your script, we have questions. They produce storyboards. And from there, we narrow 15 down to 4. Those 4 receive the budget to make their film. So they each receive $18,000.
Okay.
And then from there, they all create their films. And then one is the grand prize winner that goes on screen.
Okay, so that was the detail that I missed. Okay, so 15 semis, 4 get budgeted and greenlit to go ahead with their project. 1 gets chosen as the ultimate screening winner. Okay,
Yes.
very good.
Yes, you got it.
And you said Cinemark Theaters. That's the chain.
We work with Cinemark and with AMC. As you guys are scripting, you can keep your theaters generic. Like you can say like the lights of the marquee or the theater, or you can say that, but don't say like an AMC theater or a Cinemark theater. We have AMC and Cinemark on the selection committee, so I don't want to call out any theater by their name.
Okay, but you did say that they would have access to that theater for shooting if they needed it?
Yes, they will get in-kind access to a theater.
I'm not aware of any Cinemark theaters in Orlando, but we do have AMC. We have several.
That's great. That's great.
That's fine. It's either or.
Yeah, it's either or.
Okay.
I mean, we've had students travel far and wide. I'm looking at Olivia because they literally traveled from Savannah, Georgia, all the way to Gainesville, Florida, just so they could have the theater that they wanted. So even though you don't have a Cinemark in your area, like students can travel if they want. That's an option.
And that comes
It's
out
certainly
of
a more costly option, but it is an option.
that would be part of their budget constraint. Then the travel would have to come out of their 18,000.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so that's important thing to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? I have a few more minutes before I hop off. Any questions for me? Katie will walk through the selection and application process in a minute.
I just had a comment, but I think the theater at the City Walk, the Universal, I believe that one is a Cinemark. In case.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah. So okay, it may have changed. That's very possible. Yeah.
Maybe it
Awesome.
did change. I'm not sure.
Okay. If nobody else has a question, I had another question. Somebody
Sure.
asked me about one of the documents that I had distributed mentioned red cameras and lenses and stuff. Are those things also allocated out of the $18,000 budget, or are those things that Refreshing Films or Coke is providing in addition to the other financial aid to create this spot?
Well, we have several technical partners. We've worked with Red, Zeiss, and eFilm in the past as technical partners, and so they provide those assets to filmmakers to use on set. We always announce them during production. So what we do is we ask for students to put their budget together with the knowledge that they have and do their best to kind of carve out how they'd spend the money. And when we announce the partnerships, then we will reallocate those funds elsewhere. So you can use school gear. You could plan on using school gear or renting your own gear with your $18,000 for now. And if we announce any technical partnerships for this year, then you'll update your budget.
Okay, so those groups aren't necessarily attached to the 2021 contract.
Correct.
Because the students were asking if they needed to take gear from UCF or what? And I said, well, there's this mention of Reds and Zeiss, but I don't know. And then
Yeah, I mean,
they had to rent them.
Most students use a hybrid model, like they use some school gear to everybody wants their 18,000 to stretch further, right?
Yeah,
And so if you
sure.
can supplement it with school gear, then absolutely that's amazing. And if you can, you know, limit what you have to rent to certain pieces, I think, you know, that definitely goes a long way.
Right.
But you know, at this point, you're just putting your best guess together. And then once you get accepted in the program, you'll refine your budget. You'll refine all those details.
Great.
I'm really, really appreciative for the time, and I'm so excited that you all are here listening about the program. Katie runs the selection process, the database process, so she knows it really well. She's going to walk you guys through how to apply to the program. And you also have another really special guest, and I don't know if you guys did intros before I came on, but Olivia Schneider is on the call. She is a past participant. So she's been through the program before, and she'll, you know, Katie and I think the program's amazing, but we're obviously very biased. She can tell you how it really is. So feel free to ask her some questions as well at the end.
That's terrific. Welcome, Olivia.
And I am
Thank you
so,
so much.
I'm so excited for you guys to keep talking. I'm gonna leave, but have a great day. And if you guys have any further questions, join some of our other webinars.
Thank you, Aviva. Thanks for stopping
All
by.
right. Bye.
All right. Let's see here if I can share my screen and get back to the brief.
There we go. Yay.
All right, great. So as Aviva mentioned, when students are applying, you're going to submit a script, a budget, and then any additional resources. I'm sorry, a script, a budget, and the application. And so this page that you're looking at right here is the script requirements and restrictions. And so a lot of this we've already gone over in terms of the content. You know, you can't avoid cartoon animation styles. You can't give the Coke, you know, a talking mouth, or anything like that that says, you know, drink me. And then in terms of the script and the budget requirements, you can see here, must be in English. Oops. And so it must not contain a separate title page. So one of the great things about the program is that when you apply and you send in your script, the script readers are reading your scripts blind, which means they don't know where you go to school. They don't know how you identify. They don't know how old you are, anything like that. And so that really allows us to choose scripts based on content, based on story. So this is a little bit contrary to industry standards, but when you submit your script, we don't want any identifying information on there. So it'll simply be the title of your script and then the dialogue. And you can submit it in a standard script form.
I just want to point out that that's contrary to my advice to all of my writing students in the audience at the moment who constantly forget their title pages. In this one exception, you want to submit your script without the title page so that you're considered equally.
Absolutely, yeah. So just this is the one exception, Mike, that you can make for your students. So one of the things that we are focusing on, obviously with COVID, there will be a section in your budget for COVID safety, for proper PCP on set. And so we are asking students this year to allocate around $600 for that. And you'll see it in the budget document. It's in the folder that I've sent, Mike. And again, you know, if you have any questions about budget, you know, feel free to shoot me a question. And we want, these spots are going to be shown in May of 2022. So you want to think about, with regards to COVID, not necessarily having your actors or people in masks. We want to show sort of an aspirational world, so to speak. And we want these spots to be evergreen. So, you know, hopefully by spring, COVID is not as large of an issue as it is now. And so we wouldn't want your script with all your masks people or your mask protocols to be, ruled out because it's from a time of now, I guess, if that makes sense. So those are the script requirements. And then the budgets, you can take a look at the document. There are 2 signature lines on the budget when you submit. So one is a signature for you and your partner to attest that this is original work. And then the other signature line is for your faculty member, which will be Mike. And this is for us to confirm sort of that the people who are applying actually are students at the school at UCF. And this will allow Mike to sort of, kind of filter in the applications and know who's applying, which is helpful probably for you, Mike, to know which of your students are submitting.
Sure. So somebody brought up a question the other day in class. That was, well, how proactive was my involvement, and was I going to monitor people's submission process and so forth? And I said I wasn't really sure how much I was supposed to take on other than disseminating the information, but that does sound like there is good cause or justified cause to run your submissions past me before we send them in, to make sure that you are conforming to all of these creative restrictions and these branding constraints and these licensing concerns, just to make sure that you don't have anything in there that's going to disqualify you from the consideration. So that means that you don't want to wait till the last minute to be submitting your packets if you want it to be looked over for any of these clearances that we would be looking for, like even on a regular TV show or a feature. So if you want to pass your stuff by me before you submit it, plus I have to sign it anyway, earlier is better.
Yeah, I think that certainly because you will need to sign all the applications, Mike, you'll see them. It really depends on how much work you want to take on. If you want to go through every single submission and vet it, you're welcome to do that. It's certainly not necessary. We have people who will go through the submissions, and like Mike said, students, you guys should definitely submit early, because let's say you do submit and there is something incorrect, your submission will be disqualified. But if you're early, we'll get back to you and you'll have time to fix it and you can resubmit. That's definitely not an issue, and it happens a lot.
Great.
So I would suggest that you apply early, and then that gives you time in case there are any issues that you can go back and fix it and resubmit.
Terrific.
So now we're looking at the timeline. This is just sort of gives you a breakdown kind of what we are looking at. So the call for entries, the deadline is October 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. And so like Mike said, get it in early. We tend to get a lot of scripts that final day. And so a lot of times we'll have some kind of upset students if they have submitted, at 11:58 and there's something wrong. They can't resubmit, because the deadline has passed.
Yeah.
So I just keep that in mind. You'll see the semi-finalists that we talked about will be selected around November 12th. And they will have until November 18th to get, additional storyboards or things that they can help build their submission. And then you'll see the finalists, the 4 finalists are announced December 13th. And this is sort of a big window, November 18th to December 13th. And it does account for Thanksgiving holiday, but it's also because we get so many amazing scripts, and it is really, really hard for us to narrow down those 4, which is why there's that big time gap. So then pre-production post will all run through about December through April. With your filming will be between January 13th to February 20th. And so it's sort of a big window because there's a little bit of negotiation that has to happen between, the students. And as Aviva mentioned, the Coca-Cola team and, myself and Aviva will be on every set. And so we do have to kind of account for travel times and, putting some days in between to make sure that we can make all the filming dates work. But we will, we'll discuss it with you. Typically, students will submit, 3 or 4 dates that they would like, and we do our best to accommodate. But it all sort of depends, which is again why there's sort of that large window. And then the films will go to the judging panel in April. The grand prize winning film will be announced sometime mid-May, and then we'll have that winning film up in spring of 2022. So are there any questions about the timeline? Let's see, I open the chat.
So you said Aviva and you will be visiting each of the productions, so that you're going to stagger the production so you can be to each of those personally.
Correct. Yeah. And so it just sort of depends, if there's a New York school that makes it in, we have to fly there. And then let's say we're coming down to Florida, maybe, and we have to account, sort of for some COVID testing too in between. So yes, the shoots will be, the 4 film shoots will be staggered between January and February.
I don't know if this question is part and parcel with the timeline, but I was asked a number of times, what's the running duration of the spot for the grand prize winner? How long will it be in theaters?
That is a great question. I can double check with Aviva. I think it's 6 weeks. I think we talked about that, Mike, but I will confirm that with Aviva, and I will email you so you can send it on to your students.
And these will run as interstitials at both Cinemark and AMC theaters nationwide.
Correct. Yeah, all the co-partnered theaters. I know, Olivia, do you remember how long Choose Happy might have been running?
Yeah,
the
I mean,
theaters?
it definitely was before. I think it was between like 6 to 8 weeks. I know
Okay.
it premiered before, I think it was Infinity War when that was in theaters. So that was super cool. And it showed like before then. So, but I think you're right. It was like between 2 months about.
Yeah. And so Olivia actually has been on our last 2 grand prize winning films, both from SCAD. So if you guys have questions for Olivia, I highly suggest that you ask.
Definitely. I'm also from Florida. So, hey guys, super exciting.
Oh,
So
okay.
the next slide you're looking at is the participating schools. So this is, as Mike already showed you guys, to scope out the competition. And then it just has a list of the faculty contact on your campus, which you all know is Mike. Let's see. Submission guidelines. Okay, so this is, I'm going to go to this page first. So there are 2 ways to submit your applications, and you can find these links to submit the application in the creative brief, which you should all have a copy of. So the first option is to upload your script and your budget and your application. And this way you submit everything and it's all kind of a one-stop shop. The second option is you will also fill out an online application, and then you would email us your script and your budget. Both options are great. We'll receive both. I think that students tend to find the upload option a little bit easier because they submit the application and it won't let you submit the application unless you upload your script and your budget. And so it just eliminates one extra step. You will need to submit an application and a budget for each entry. So let's say you want to submit 10 scripts. You will need to repeat this process 10 times. And that's great. I mean, we love multiple submissions. I think it's a great idea. So definitely don't be intimidated by that. Yes.
So it's not one script per team. They can submit as many scripts as they want as long as they reapply.
Correct. Yes. So,
Wow.
if you have a team of 2 and they want to submit 10 ideas, they're certainly allowed to do that.
Wow.
But they
Okay.
would have to resubmit. They would have to fill out an application 10 times. And each time they would have to submit that different script associated with that
Okay.
application.
Now, I know it's going to come up, so I just wanted to ask you now. You mentioned earlier that you don't want title pages on the scripts, so you don't want the script document itself to be identifiable in any way, but how, are there any naming conventions then for the file that contains the final draft document?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked, Mike. So if you look at the slide that's up, can you all see this? It should say submission guidelines and considerations.
Yes.
So these are a lot of things that Aviva already covered. You must submit an application, a script, and a budget. You must apply as a team of 2. One team member must be designated as the producer. You're welcome to submit as many application scripts and budgets as you'd like. Oh my goodness. Budgets must be signed. So if you are submitting your scripts, they must be submitted as PDF files. And we'd like you to title the documents with your script title _ application, and then script or title _ script. Actually, this is a typo. It should say break the night _ budget, break the night _ script.
Okay. And I'm assuming somewhere on the, maybe perhaps the budget document, there's a information that traces that back to where it came from, because otherwise how would you know?
Yeah,
The
that's a great
notified.
question. So I am in charge of the database, so I know which students are submitting which scripts from which schools. We have a separate script reading team, and that separate script reading team will only receive the scripts.
Okay.
So they're 2 separate committees, so that way that the script readers don't know where the scripts come from, but I will know. Someone will know. And I think that's it. I'm happy to open it to any questions. Olivia, if I've forgotten anything, feel free to chime in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I just wanted to throw out there with the whole, because the script naming, I pulled up a previous page in the brief because I've gone over it a lot this morning. The title of the script, it says should be displayed at the top of your script, just not on a separate page. So they'll have the title on the top of the script. It's just not like a separate title page.
Correct, yes, sorry, that wasn't clear. Yes, you will still need to title your script, but that's the only thing on there. And then when you're naming your documents, it will be, the title of your script _ script. Title of your script _ budget. Great, yeah, let me stop sharing the screen and I can open it up for questions. I see one from Carlos. Will this presentation be available anywhere? Yeah, I think, Mike, are you recording this Zoom?
I am, but
Okay.
I don't, oh, yes, I do have Carlos on my list. Okay. I just didn't see his, no. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I just got it.
So yes, Carlos, the Zoom will be saved. Also, this brief, everything that we've run through, you should have access to.
Yes.
And so you can.
I'll do a general announcement. It'll be, I'm going to post this video in the capstone course for today's Zoom meeting, but I am also going to put it on my my YouTube channel where all my lectures are. And then
Okay.
I will distribute that YouTube link to all of my classes, and I'll put it on Discord as well, so that anybody that is on our UCF film program Discord server will also get the link to this discussion.
Great, that's excellent. Thank you. Yeah, does anyone have any questions for Olivia? We're here to answer anything you might have. Yeah, Matthew.
I had a question. So as far as like casting for your ad goes, and you guys said like you're trying to reach like the demographic of like younger kids, is that correct?
15 to 25.
Between
15 to
about 15 to
25, okay.
25. Yeah.
So teenagers or young adults, basically.
Yes.
Okay, so in that part of it, are we also responsible for casting as well?
Yes. So the films, you're going to run pretty much all aspects of creating any kind of commercial. So yes, so
Okay.
you'll be running casting. Some of the crews will hire a cast director as part of the crew, and they can handle that if it's not something that you're well versed in. But yes, you will be responsible for casting.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So that's the market demographic, it's 15 to 25. That doesn't necessarily mean that your actors need to be 15 to 25. Only your audience is 15 to
Okay.
25.
Okay.
So
Correct,
if
yeah.
your theme is something about grandpa, obviously you need an older person for that. your target demographic, the audience you're speaking to, 15 to 25.
Well, Michael, do you want to be in a commercial?
No, I'm a strictly behind the scenes guy. I
And-
know personally, if nobody else wants to know, I would certainly love maybe an abridged blow by blow of what it's like to do one of these shoots, especially Olivia, if you've done 2 of these now.
Yeah,
What's it like?
take it away, Olivia.
Awesome. Yeah. So I am a senior right now at the Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia, and we won the grand prize both in 2019 and in 2020, which is super exciting. And I guess the biggest like piece of advice or the blow by blow would be if you are submitting to this project, really be into it. Like this will be a huge part of your life for about 6 months, if not longer. Definitely. Like it's a lot of challenging work. So on the 2020, the last, I guess, competition, I was the associate producer and editor on the project. So I was in it from like the very start at pre-production all the way to post. Like I just followed that thing all the way through. So I definitely like was hands-on for a lot of the different sections. And yeah, you have to especially
Oh no, we're buffering.
and be a partner of Coca-Cola. Oh, I'm so sorry. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Maybe. Okay. I'm so sorry about the lag. My Wi-Fi must be bad. So you can hear me. Thumbs up. Okay. Thanks, guys. Perfect. I know you're like, yeah, I can hear you. You're fine. But yeah, I mean, you are working with an industry partner, so you have to be very wary about their also needs. So there's like a lot of creative things that you might want to do, but you also have to understand that you're working for a brand. So they're going to push back with their ideas and their wants, and you both are going to have to be on the same page about executing those ideas. I am actually from Gainesville, Florida. I know you guys are in Orlando. So we shot in Gainesville, Florida. There's a new theater that was built. So we brought like a crew of like 80 people down to Gainesville and shot. I think crew and cast was like 130 at one point. So we definitely had a very, very large team. Now with all the COVID protocols, I don't know if that will happen again with like that many people, but it was a super cool experience. But like, again, with that many people, you got to be on top of everything, have a very great crew behind you to make this work.
Absolutely. This will be good experience for anybody who ends up as a production finalist. Working with a client is a very interesting experience. And even though you've pitched your idea and they've accepted your idea, you have to understand that everything they do is in the best interest of their brand. And there will be moments where they may see something moving in a direction that they are hesitant to pursue with you. And at that point, you have to remember that it's their brand, it's their product, and you have to be willing to be flexible in your approach to the concept and make sure that they're happy, because when the client is happy, this is something that, perhaps and Olivia can speak to this, perhaps this opens a door to a future relationship between you and Coca-Cola at some economic level of scale. We don't know, but agency work is highly sought after, at the professional level. So this is truly a baptism by fire.
Yeah. And I mean, it's great experience just in general. Like right now, I'm actually, because of COVID, we've been able to do hybrid classes at SCAD. So I'm actually in Los Angeles at the moment as the coordinating producer on a feature-length documentary with Kevin Garnett's company, Content Cartel, and Point Road Productions. So not saying like this will lead you to this, but it really sets you up for great background for me specifically in producing. Like I learned so much through this project, and it's helped me so much in my career and as a student in general. So it's definitely like, it was one of the most challenging products, projects, but it makes you, I would say, a way better filmmaker, and especially, and I'm going to keep touching on it, as a producer, a much better producer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And something I will add, I don't know if Aviva touched on this, but for those 4 finalist films, we will only pick one script from one school. So let's say UCF were lucky enough to make 3 scripts into the semifinalists. At the end of the day, we would only pick one from UCF. But one of the great things is, and I don't know if this has come up or if anyone has this question, but you guys are all welcome to apply, in your team of 2. But if you have 4 friends and 2 of you, you are allowed to be a part of each other's crew. And I know Olivia can speak to this. She had applied, had made a submission, I think in 2020. And then, didn't make the semifinals or finals, unfortunately, but was still able to work on a SCAD film that did make it. So, and that's a situation where we love to see kind of the school come together. And so even if your script didn't make it into the finals, if someone else did, you guys can all, you could be on the crew or find some way to support that film and support your school.
I would hope so, for sure. It becomes a school effort at that point.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. Yeah.
You're saying only one semifinalist from each school.
So
But
only one finalist from each school. Yeah.
One finalist.
So it's possible that, if there were 3 UCF scripts that made it to the semifinalists, that would be amazing. But at the end of the day, we would pick just one finalist.
SCAD had 2 in 2020, and then 1 got picked, just for reference.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I'm a little surprised that I think that folks are underestimating the gravity of this opportunity. And I don't know, Olivia, if you can speak to this or not, but I strongly suspect that your colleagues, the folks that came to this meeting, are kind of the hardcores that are here every week, no matter what. God bless them for showing up every week and listening to me maw on and on. But I think that the students really, truly they're underestimating the value of this experience and the gravity of this opportunity, because I expected a few more folks to come to this meeting than who have shown
up. Mike, do you have any clubs or film clubs, organizations on campus?
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
You can certainly, okay.
The first thing that I did when you sent me the email two weeks ago was to send those materials on the PDF to our social media coordinator for the film department.
Yeah, I've been in touch with Kate, right?
Right, so that she could disseminate it. And then I went to all of my classes and announced the opportunity and put it on Discord as well, so that I could hit as many of those bases as possible. So we've tried to cast a fairly wide net. And now I suspect after this recording goes onto YouTube and folks kind of start sharing that link around, and they get the information and start hearing the information and seeing that there was an individual here that had actually been through this process and won, and that 2 of you came out from Refreshing Films to talk about these details. I'm hoping that people understand that this is a huge, huge opportunity. Okay, shooting at this level, and even though it's an $18,000 budget, it's still agency work, and Coca-Cola is Coca-Cola, right? So it's a major brand, and it's a major opportunity for you to get some real world experience and match your creative effort and your skill sets to a high profile situation and see how you fare.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously biased. I think it's amazing. I wish we had this program when I was in school.
Yeah, me too.
But I think I would have really enjoyed an opportunity to work on this. I definitely would have been one of those people who had submitted, like 20 scripts. So again, Mike, you and I can connect offline about, some further effort for promotion, and I'll loop Olivia in too, because, she can really speak to the actual student experience. But yeah, are there any other questions? Let me see. I don't think so.
Do you think that like I said, I'm not sure that folks really understand the gravity of this. And there may be kind of a surge after this gets out there and people realize, oh, hey, wait a minute, this really was a big deal. I'm wondering if it makes any sense to do another Zoom in a few weeks, maybe. And
Yeah, absolutely. We
know,
can,
or-
so what we also have set up on the promotional calendar that everyone should have access to. We have these webinars, which we're doing right now, and then we also schedule what we call pitch sessions. And this is an opportunity for you to come to the pitch session and actively pitch your idea for your script and receive live feedback from Aviva and myself. And so that will kind of give you, a little bit of insight kind of in what we're looking for. And even if you're not, not comfortable presenting, it's really great. It's a really great opportunity to listen in because you can kind of see where the trends are. You can kind of receive, even though it's not your specific piece. Aviva has been doing this for many, many years. And her feedback is always excellent and always spot on. So, that's a really good opportunity. I believe I have the calendar shared with you all. We can certainly talk about setting up a pitch session for UCF specifically, Mike, if you'd like to do that in a few weeks. That's certainly something that we could be happy to set up. We encourage it,
yeah.
honestly.
I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 weeks from now before we get to, well, the 22nd was the submission deadline.
Yeah, we don't really have 4 or 5 weeks, but
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to
we've-
back that statement up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would suggest maybe, let this sort of marinate over the weekend, and then maybe we look at, a week or two from now.
Yeah, maybe you and I should talk on like Monday or something
Yeah, absolutely.
about that sort of
Absolutely.
possibility. What was I going to ask you? Oh, so did you give us a link to an archive of more than just the 2 videos we saw going
Yes,
back
so-
any further?
Yeah, so on our website, we have what we call the vault, and this will be
That's
all the past films that we've done, going back to 1999.
That's-
So you can see the 2 films that Olivia worked on are up there, and then also some other spots. And so you can kind of see in the last 2 or 3 years, the spots have only been about 30 seconds, but back in the early days of the program, the spots were, a minute or sometimes 3 minutes long. So we recommend taking a look at some of those. They can kind of give you an idea. I think 2016 and later, or I'm sorry, 2016 and earlier, the spots were about a minute 30. And so those are good places to kind of see what the students have done with that time.
The vault is at .com, right? Not the YouTube page.
Correct. It's Coca-Cola Refreshing Films.com, and then there's a section of the vault. I'll throw it in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be really, really helpful. If everybody takes a look at those and see the tone. I mean, she said not to make a commercial, but I mean, it's a, it's a limited total running time narrative. So, by loose
Yeah,
definition,
absolutely.
it sort of is a commercial.
Yes, it is. I mean, I think, and keep in mind when you go back and watch some of these old films, the scripting challenge is different every year. So you can see, different films will have different themes. But it's nice to see kind of the work that the students have previous students have done and kind of, look at the quality. And yeah, I think, have any of you seen the Coca-Cola Refreshing Films shorts in the theater by chance? Okay,
Yeah.
great. So back when we were Coca-Cola Regal. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah. So you see the reach. I mean, it's really an amazing thing to see the film up on the big screen. As I'm sure Olivia can attest to that. I mean, the Let Loose film, or I'm sorry, not Let Loose, the Choose Happy film played before Avengers, which was huge. I remember that was a really big get.
Yeah,
So-
I was actually in Orlando when I saw it, which is so fun. That was the first time I saw it when it was premiering, and it was like a surreal experience. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So it's a
I'm
narrative.
sorry, go ahead.
It's a narrative effort. I think what Aviva meant when she said don't make a commercial is, don't have everybody dancing around with a bottle of Coke in their hand. That's not what they're looking for. You're
Yeah.
gonna make a story, a compelling story that supports the theme that they've given. And the theme again is
The magic of the movies.
the magic of the movies.
Yeah, taking a break to connect. And I think when we say I think sometimes we go back and forth between calling it a film and a commercial. I think what Aviva means is when she says don't make a Coke commercial is that we want the brand will be integrated naturally. We will work with you guys on that, but we really want you to focus on is submitting scripts around the theme, the magic of the movies. An example maybe of, going overboard is in the past, a girl will be wearing a red dress with red lipstick and a man pulls up in a red car and there's a red glow on her face as she sees her, all that kind of stuff. It just is a little bit over the top. And so that is something we would like to avoid this year.
Sure.
But yes, like you were saying, Mike, focus more on the story. And
Those are
that
two-
sip stealer is great. Is a great
Those are
spot.
two premises, though. The magic of the movies and taking a break. Both of those messages need to be in this document, or is it one or the other premise? Do they choose? They put them both.
We would like sort of both to work seamlessly. I think they do. I think that Aviva had mentioned, a lot of the pitch sessions or some of the pitch sessions that she was sitting in earlier, a lot of students have really honed in on the break idea. And so we would love to see more spots. My advice to you guys would be, we would love to see more spots that are celebrating the magic of the movies and what makes that special.
Okay.
So, yeah, if there are no more questions, this has been really great. We appreciate you guys taking the time. And Mike, you and I will talk about possibly setting up a pitch session. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'll throw
you.
this, you can email here. And then so this is the email address. So you can send, if you have any additional questions, you can send an email to that email address. And we also encourage you to join these other webinars. We have a bunch on the schedule, and join some of these pitch sessions. Even if you don't feel like sharing, it's really, like I said, it's a really great opportunity to listen and to hear Aviva's feedback. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
You
hope
need
we
to
can do one
access
for UCF. That would be really terrific. So
yeah, absolutely.
see, what we
Nick, is there a way to access the other webinars? Yes, there's a link to the calendar. Do you mean access old recordings of the old webinars or access to join? Access to join. Yes, so I will send, let me see if I can. So in the materials, Mike has them. There's a link to a calendar. And the calendar has a list and dates and times of all our future webinar sessions. And all you have to do is click on the join webinar link, and it'll send you reminders, and it's very easy. It's similar to Zoom. It's not quite the same thing, but it's very similar.
if you want schedule a virtual. So I have, what do I have here? All
Make
applications.
sure you have the calendar. Let me see if I can.
I don't have the, I might be missing a document. It seems like I might be.
See, I'm going to share my screen here for a second. Okay. So this is what the calendar looks like.
Yeah, I don't
as
have
you can
that.
see. Okay, so I'll make sure you get this, Mike. So this is what the calendar looks like. See, you can see here's Thursday, so we had a pitch session this morning. Here's your class, and then we have another webinar this afternoon. So you can see it says join webinar link, and you'll just click on that link and it'll prompt you to enter your email address to register, and then you'll get reminders, and then you can just join at the appointed time.
Wow, University of West Georgia, you can crash their webinar party.
Yes, so all the webinars on here, they are, created for these specific schools, but they're open to all students. It just, as we found, sometimes it's helpful to take dedicated time during a class, which is, so you can guarantee students show up. And so that's why we've done these for these specific schools. But again, they're open to all.
I'm sure that I don't have to really mention this or not, but if you do go to a competing school's webinar for any reason, please represent UCF in your best possible light. And don't be silly like your professor just was and and treat the situation lightly. Be on your best behavior, please, folks.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. Thank you guys so much for letting us come, and hopefully we'll see you at a pitch session. So
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And
Yeah,
thank you,
you're
Olivia,
welcome.
for joining us as well. And good luck on your project you're currently working on. And I look forward to hearing from you next week, Katie. I'm going to stay on with the remainder of the
excellent. Yeah,
cohort
we'll
here
take
and
off here.
handle any additional questions. And then I'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. So, what do you think, guys, gals?
I was writing the script just as the thing went on, and I'm already done.
Okay, well, there you go. Get to work, everybody else. So that's great. That's terrific. I didn't realize we were going to get all three folks today on this visit, so that was helpful. If you think of any questions, I know it's a lot of information to take in. A lot of it, most of it was on the PDF. I hope that my additional questions help smooth over any of the other details. But if you do think of something, just shoot me an email. And if I don't know the answer to it, I will get Katie involved in that so you can get exactly the information that you need.
You said give you the scripts first, right?
Well, I have to sign your application. So I think the wisdom is don't come to me on October 22nd and have me sign your document. If you want me to look over what you've got, to look for any mistakes or any omissions or any errors, to give you time to remedy that before you send it away. They're saying that they're going to have their own level of scrutiny at their end, but you never want to send a client something that doesn't represent your absolute best foot forward based on how you understood the objective or the project to begin with. You don't want to send them something that they have to turn around and look at with a deep level of scrutiny. So I'm talking about naming conventions and make sure all of your documents are there. If you had any supporting materials, that make sure that those are included. Make sure that you've identified your files correctly, things of that nature. Okay. And then if you want to look at any of the other stuff, I will be your liaison up to the point that you submit your application. Okay. So by the time I'm signing that document and you're firing it off to Coca-Cola, that's it. There's no more changing what you've sent them. So give yourself a little time, a buffer, get it ready early, and let's look at it before you send it off to make sure that, you know, everything is copacetic. All the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted.
And we get our own crew, right?
You
When the
will
time
get
comes.
you will get whatever crew you desire or that you can afford budget wise. And I would encourage to the audience at large here, I would encourage, if we only have one, you know, semi-finalist from UCF, I would hope that, you know, all of the concerned parties would find a way to collaborate to make it a UCF effort instead of an individual effort. That would be really terrific, I think, at that point. Then, you know, the recognition is going to go to the core team, you know, but I'd like to see us make it about a UCF effort at this point, you know, since we're going up against a number of really, really competitive schools. So.
Matthew, George, you in?
I'm looking for a partner right now, so if you want to partner up, I'm more than willing to partner up with you, Sean, if you would
Oh
like.
yeah, I'll show
Oh,
you what
okay,
I
yeah.
got later.
Yeah.
Good.
I also sent you a DM, George, so
I know Nick's working with people already. He's coming from my 3102 class. So that's exciting. We got
102, which one's that?
writing for television, film and television.
Actually, I'm coming out of cinematography.
Oh, you're repping cinematography now. Okay. Well,
I'm not in that
fun.
writing class.
I know who you are, though. I know that you're one of mine, kiddo.
Ah,
That's good. That's good.
Well, you know
Maybe
that because
people-
he's here.
Maybe some of the people you're working with, like Brandon's in my writing class. Maybe that's what it was. You're working with Brandon Villari, right?
No, I'm gonna be working with Abby. I don't know if you know her.
Abby. Oh, I don't know if I know Abby. I could tell if I saw her face. I don't know. I'm
Abby
terrible.
Bushel.
I'm terrible with names. Terrible. Everyone's dude. I know you by sight, but names takes me longer.
I feel that, my man. I feel that.
Well, great. So I think that's going to cover it for the Zoom meeting for today. I don't really have anything to add on the topics of grant writing or finance, other than I can field any questions you might have from the web course materials. I wanted today to make today about the Katie Pryor meeting. So that was fun and informative. So do we have any of that other business? Do we have any exclusively Capstone One topics to cover at this point? Are we good?
I would like to get everyone's opinion on my new demo reel. It's still a work
Oh,
in
yeah.
progress, but would it be all right if I just
Sure.
just sent the link in the chat, or would you rather me post it onto the
I can make you a co-presenter if you want, and you can share your screen like I did, or you can give us the link and we can go ourselves. It's up to you.
okay.
Here, while you're deciding that, I will just say to the group, thank you very much for coming. I hope that you got all the information you needed concerning Coca-Cola. From this point forward, we are going to be workshopping an editor's reel by Jorge. So you don't have to stick around for that if you don't want to. But it's definitely open if you're interested in critiquing or evaluating some digital video. We're going to show that next. Otherwise, thank you for coming to this Zoom meeting. If you have any questions about Coca-Cola Refreshing Films and the contest this semester, email me through web courses, michael.walsh@ucf.edu, and I will follow up with you with information and details as soon as I can. Okay, so I will make you a co-host, and then you'll be able to share your screen, and I am not sharing mine. So you should be able to give us your video window right now.
Okay. Let's see.
So go to the bottom and share your screen and then give us your video window.
Okay, here it is. And share.
There you go.
Is there a thing that I have to press to like share sound, or?
No, I didn't. I think it's probably something that I built into the initial Zoom parameters. Give it a try. Hit full screen on the video and then just hit play and we'll see. If it doesn't work, you can send me your link and I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay, it was lagging a lot, and I'm
Oh,
thinking that what was the resolution that you played that back at? It's down here. It's yeah.
wait, down where?
Click that sprocket and show us what resolution that was.
720.
720. Yeah. It might not buffer if it's at like maybe 480. The detail won't be as sharp, but I think it's more about evaluating your cuts on the beat, right? Than it is about, I noticed you have some new images in there though. That was good.
Yeah, I wanted to, try to make it flow a little bit, like have the more exciting parts at the beginning and then having some of the other parts that aren't exciting more towards like middle and the end. And I added some transitions in there.
Yeah, some
And,
finger wipes. I
still
saw
working on-
that. That was cool. You had a box wipe, you had a finger wipe, you had a diagonal wipe. Yeah, that's cool. What do you think, guys? Did it lag on your screens? Because it was lagging pretty hard on mine. Yeah. Yeah, the resolution was too high to go through Zoom the way we're doing it. It's not the most ideal way, I suppose.
I
Good,
actually,
though. You shouldn't have any like mediocre shots in your reel though. You should have only your best shots, right? And then start with a bang and end on a high note as well. There can be, a temporal shift towards the end of it, but all of the work should demonstrate your best work, should be all your work. And then we're looking at the cuts on the beats and any other, like you said, you were demonstrating some of your transition prowess. So you got some nice transitions in there. I don't know, Matt, what would you add to that?
So this is just my opinion, and you don't have to take it, and you all might think differently, but in your reel, I would get rid of transitions altogether, because honestly, and this isn't saying to you, George, as like an editor, but those transitions we all know are presets in our editing programs that we can create ourselves. And not to say that this doesn't, like, obviously the video that you're presenting is really good, but what you really want to be looking for is like getting, like, obviously you have a really good track and you have really good images. Don't take away from that. Because I don't know, when I look at a reel, like, that's what I'm focusing on. I don't really care whether you can do the transitions or not, because I know that they're all presets in my editing program and everything like that. That's just my opinion. You don't have to take it. Michael might think differently. Everyone here might think differently, but a reel is music. Put your shots, like one good advice I got was like, put your shots on the downbeat of the song. Some people usually look for the upbeat, but you want to look for the downbeat. Make your shots a variety of different shots. Like, they all don't have to be the same length, or they don't, like, one can be a wide shot that lasts 5 seconds, and then one shot's like someone looking up and that's like 2 seconds, and it's just like, it's a variation. You want to have a flow to it. And I don't know, when I see a reel, I just want to say, like, wow, that was really good. I want to see more. So that's the biggest thing that I can give you. And that's the thing that I saw. And that's something I had to deal with when I made my reel as well. So, but other than that, like, you did a really good job from your first one. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd say it's leaps and bounds better than the first attempt as well. I still maintain that you want to get any of that material out that's not yours. And if this isn't a reel that you're going to look for work as an editor with, and I totally understand, Matt, your point of view about any wipes that are coming out of the pull down menus of Premiere or Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve don't necessarily demonstrate any ability per se. But what other things do you think as an editor that he might want to demonstrate in a reel then? Because if he didn't shoot the material, or even if he did shoot the material, but he's not looking for a cinematographer job, he's looking for a job as a cutter, then we have to show that kind of nuance, maybe color correction. And so
That's a good point. Yeah.
all your
Color
colors
correction.
should match, right? You don't want to have different, luminance and chrominance levels throughout the whole thing. You want to do a nice matching pass so that you got good control over your exposure, your gamma, your color saturation. Your cuts then on the beat, your cuts on the dialogue, if there's dialogue, all of those things that another editor is going to be looking for. This is your opportunity to show what you can do. But yeah, what do I know? I'm a shooter. I'm not a cutter. So I'm impressed by a finger wipe, but I don't know, for me, you guys, that might be a piece of cake. I don't know, what do I know?
I also have my reel to show up if you guys want to watch it just as we wind down for class.
Sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
All right. So I'm going to put the link in the chat just so we don't have to deal with lagging issues and you can guys all watch it like in YouTube.
Do it up.
I will say that the colors might shift depending on what screen you're watching it on, because I know it did on mine because mine's just a old MacBook Air. So I would suggest once you get in there, pause it and then maybe turn up the settings to the 1080p option if you want to really see the coloring and everything like that.
Are you using any kind of color calibrated software or tools?
So I have an IPS monitor. Like I work on two like IPS monitors side by side, and I have like the Spider X, those little calibrated things for the monitor. So that's what I usually do, and I usually calibrate my monitor every time. But still, like, I don't know what it is. Like I'm just like I just need more time and more experience with DaVinci and the whole color system. But like I still have issues here and there of color shifting. One thing I'm noticing, it looks great on the iPhone. So if you want to watch it on the iPhone, go for it. It looks really good on the iPhone. I have the old MacBook Air, which has like a 720p screen and is not like a good color representation monitor. So obviously it's not going to look good on mine. If you have the Retina display MacBook, probably it would look better on that.
I've got a 15-inch fourth quarter 2019 Retina display. So
yeah,
16, I should say.
Those things are awesome.
This thing was nosebleed expensive. I just want to put that out there. Yeah. I won't be buying another $3,600 laptop anytime soon. I have it queued up right now in YouTube. I've got it at 1080 60p. Yeah.
Perfect.
Cool.
Just watch it at that. You don't need to watch it in 4K.
Here's the story about the man born at just the right time with just the right mix of stuff. The man who found.
Can you start that again because I wasn't looking.
Is the story about the man who changed everything. The man who was born at just the right time with just the right mix of stuff.
So did you shoot this at 60p and then change the playback to 24?
No, why?
I was just wondering because sometimes it looks good to speed ramp the striking of a match like that. It looks better in high speed,
Oh, wow. Oh, so you were at Colorado at one point?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Did you do that in After Effects or?
Yes. Automatic 10 out of 10. It has pizza in it.
Oh my God, is that garlic butter?
Oh, wow. You're making me hungry, bro.
So what was this reel for?
Yeah, because
Um,
What job?
Okay.
were you,
So I guess it was kind of like a reel that I was making because because I'm still shooting stuff currently right now, especially for school and everything, and for stuff I do outside for work and everything. So I just wanted to put something together just so I can put it on my website, because like the way I have my website laid out, like I have this this drop down menu, and it's and it has like this big like wide screen where I can put the video or a photo. So I would probably put this probably on the header of my website just to like make it look nice and everything like that. I think this is just like my first draft really. As far as like this, I don't know if I would make it a color edit. I would be, but I would definitely need to put more time into the coloring. Even though I think the coloring is pretty good, it could be better. It could be way better. Especially when I look at some of the shots, like with the shadowing and the lift, the gamut, and the gain, and everything like that. Some of it could be fixed up. On one of the ones where I did the music video for one of my friends, I put this glow effect on him, and you can see it in one of the shots, but then it kind of disappears in the other one. So I definitely want to fix that. Other than that, I mean, honestly, I made this without with no specificity. I just wanted to make something to present and see what you guys thought.
Yeah, it's cool. The last shot did look a little crunchy, but it's not bad because you got so many different kinds of shots in here. We're not sure what, consistent color is. Although you start on a warm shot and you end on a warm shot, which is really interesting. Because I think that's like, whatever your first impression of that match strike is. So if that really resonates with you, then the last shot at sunset with the same color cast to it is kind of a callback to the first shot. So in a way, it's bringing back the emotion from the first shot in the last shot, which is, that's
I'm so happy you noticed that.
Oh, you did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, good, because that's a very complex subtextual appeal that you're making to the audience. It's like, if you liked how I opened this for you, I want to leave you on that note, but I don't want to give you the same image again. That would be redundant, right? And too on the nose. So I'm going to give you this other image that is going to give you the same warm, fuzzy feeling with a different image associated with it. So that works really well. Do you know what I mean about the temporal displacement on the match? Like if you shoot that match at 60p is not really very fast, but like
it was shot at 60
footage?
It was shot at 60p on my Blackmagic 4K. So
did you shoot? Is your source footage all 4K though?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, yeah, I'm a big fan of just shooting 2K because the studio or the theater's still projecting 2K. So
right.
4K. 4K is okay, but you're limited to that 60p. If you bumped down to 2K, you could probably get a few more frames out of that high speed and then get a real nice slow-mo on the match. So then shoot that whole strike high speed, right? And then go in and keyframe where you want to ramp the speed and go in and out of high speed into 24p with the match, I like match strikes. There's something very maybe it's a cliche by now. I don't know. It might be the wrong advice I'm giving you, but you know how you're watching it kind of going at 24p, and then when the match strike happens, it happens in slow-mo, right? And all warm and whatnot, and then back into 24p. You can do kind of like speed ramping like that in post-production.
So I'm sure you've had experience with the Blackmagic cameras before. So
I have several of them, yeah.
Yeah. So when you not say downgrade, but when you put the resolution back down to 2K, do you get more dynamic range? Like, is that what you're saying? Or
No, I mean, it's 15. I use the Ursa Mini, so I got 15 stops of dynamic range. So 4.
right.
But at 2K, you get higher frame rates. I get longer recording times. And
Okay.
it's not a burden on the editing system either, because it's 2K resolution instead of 4K.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going to go, even on Vimeo. I don't know. I just don't feel the need to master on 4K just yet. Not yet,
Right.
and if I put something on YouTube, it's like 1080, 720,
So would you recommend me going forward with my making like B-roll for my reel? Would you recommend putting it down to 2K? Because I know
if it's
there's-
24p, you might as well shoot 4K. There's no harm in that. But if you needed the high frame rates and stuff, you can get them at lower res.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, I gotta think about that. Do you I know this is a long shot, but is there any professor, any guidance at UCF that knows anything about like the monitor calibration systems or anybody who specifies with DaVinci Resolve that I could talk to and
talk to Zach Beckler, because he's the editing teacher and he does a little bit with color correction and stuff like that.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Is there any way I can get in touch with him? Like maybe I can shadow one of his classes or something?
That would be up to him as far as shadowing his classes, but
right.
I think it's just zachary.beckler@ucf.edu. Let me see here. Yeah, Zachary, ZACHARY.Beckler, BECKLER @ucf.edu.
Would it be best to just ask him about like his office hours, you think, or?
Yeah, send him an email. Introduce yourself if you haven't had him as an instructor yet. And tell him that that I referred you to him and that you're looking for some color correction advice or monitor calibration advice, and ask him what his office hours are. We're doing a lot of virtual office hours right now, but I know that he has been in office on campus a few times this week, because I heard him down the hall. He's right down the hall from me. So.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I would definitely give him a shout. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I'm kind of surprised you haven't had him yet for editing.
So I took editing 1 before the whole pandemic situation happened, and then I guess editing 2 just filled up like crazy. So
Isn't that the class I met you in?
Editing, was it
editing 1 with Zach Beckler?
I honestly don't remember. It was a while back, but
yeah, it definitely was. Like it was like 3 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, because I think, was it him who taught editing, or I think it was Milos that I took editing 1 with.
It could
be.
So
then it was. So then
yeah,
I didn't meet you, because I had
So
definitely had Zach Beckler.
I had Milos, and we definitely like edited stuff, but in editing 1, you talk more about theory, which is in editing 2, like it looks like you're getting into the grit and grime of what you're probably expected to do as an editor, especially if you're assistant or something, which I wish I would have known that's how it would be, but
you can go to Noam Kroll's website too and look for monitor calibrating, because
I've been watching his podcasts lately. Actually, I was actually gonna say thank you for recommending him to me, because I go to Cinecolor all the time and look at the LUTs. I download their free LUTs and everything. Like,
good. Yeah, he just put out another one this week. There's another free package online in the email.
Do you get so like he sent out an email saying like he was creating a course to creating your 6-figure coloring company, and I was kind of hesitant as to those kinds of classes when they market themselves like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're not going to make six figures right out of the gate. You got to build
No, of course
client
not.
base, and you're going to expand in your own craft. You're going to build a client base. You're going to build up a resume and a reel, and it takes a while. But I would certainly say that it's certainly a reasonable expectation within 5 to 8 years that you could have a six-figure business
Mhm.
by then. Sure.
Yeah, because I mean, the best advice I got within like color grading or anything like that, the best like advice when you're starting out is free advice. So, so now I'm like considering taking this course because it's only like 70 bucks, which isn't bad. In
Oh.
comparison, I've seen a lot of other people who are colorists charge exorbitant amounts of money for their expertise. Like there's this one YouTuber named Wakaz Kazi, and he's like a colorist and everything, but his classes, like if you don't get it without the discount code, his master class is like $1,200.
Yeah.
And so, and like, I don't know, the way he markets it is like how I would imagine like a car salesman markets their car.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of good advice out there, but there's a lot of advice that's just looking for your money and how much you're willing to put into it. And
I'm not sure how I feel about $1,200. I mean, that's kind of a standard rate. I know that I've participated in a number of cinematography symposiums where people come in and pay $1,200 a head to sit and watch me light a set with I did one with 6 ASC cinematographers a few years back, and I know that they were paying $1,200 a head for that, and that was 8 years ago.
yeah.
So that would be probably like paying $1,500, $1,800 a head now.
Mhm.
And for that kind of seminar, I understand that some people need help in education, but I don't know. I mean, coloring is I think that's a little harder to encounter in the wild, because colorists and editors are they're insular, and they have the places that they work, and they don't come to the set, and you rarely see those guys or girls. And so maybe, if you're paying for courses from somebody with a good track record covering those types of concepts, it might be worth it simply because access is rare,
Mhm.
whereas seeing somebody light a set or shoot something is a little easier to come across, to where I'm wondering if, of course, these guys were ASC guys that I was working with. They're all guild cinematographers with huge resumes, and I suppose that has something to do with the price point at that point. But I don't think I would go see Joe Blow's cinematography seminar for $1,200. I just don't. I don't see
Yeah.
that happening. But a colorist, maybe. Because how else are you going to get that education?
Mhm.
We cover coloring in as an aspect of an editing class at UCF. And so, I mean, in my opinion, post-production color could be an entire class, a whole course, so access to that kind of information is a little harder to come by from credible sources. And I've seen Gnome's name around for a number of years now. And so I think there's a little trust built up there, having read, his articles and seen his website. And I have a bunch of his LUTs, and they're pretty, so, the product is good. The information seems to be good, and the guy's been around. So
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll actually sign up for the class and see what happens.
for $70, I mean, you can't go wrong, really. That's like
No.
what, one night of drinking, right? Stay in one night and go take a class.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. No, it's a huge point. Coloring could easily be just a whole class. And it's crazy. It's not, you think about cinematography, directing, and all these other jobs on the set, but no one really talks about the colorist and the post-production process. Like, I honestly, like, it's been a year or two now, and I'm like, wow, how come no one really wants to do any of this? Because this is like playing with DaVinci is a lot of fun. Like, I find it really fun.
It's a gateway craft as well. I got to tell you, the first time I sat in on a coloring session, I was a gaffer on a music video with a DP, and he said, "Hey, you want to come to the coloring session?" And it was at Company 3 in Santa Monica, and Company 3 is a big deal now.
Mhm.
They were fairly young at that time, and I said, "Yeah, sure," because I'd like, I always have a sense of what the lighting and what the images are, because I come from film, and we never had the benefit of a monitor that was correct to what the camera was capturing when it was film. It was only an estimation of what it was. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to go and see I want to see what's happening after I've touched it before it ends up on MTV. I want to see what you did in the middle. And that was an eye-opening education for me, because what they did in that chair, and the three of us sat there, and Mickey and David looked at the monitor, and he said, you remember this shot?" And I remember there was one particular shot where I had lit the talent with a hard naked HMI, 2500 Fresnel, pow, just crushed him against the wall, a white wall. And I thought, this is never going to work. It's never going to work. There's not enough latitude. And they took it into post, and they played with it, and they tugged it and tweaked it in DaVinci. And man, I was just like, I was amazed at what, because the image looks a certain way out of the camera, and you think you understand what that image is. And you can certainly make the image look like what you saw in your mind's eye, but the ability to stretch it beyond what you initially saw in your mind's eye is night and day. You can do so much with it. And so to see the next phase of the image, color correction and contrast control and everything, blew my mind. And I'm totally convinced that that is part of the process, soup to nuts, of crafting the image. It's not just, shooting it and turning it over to somebody else, because you have to make sure that your intent follows that file all the way through the pipeline, and that the engineer or the editor or the colorist don't get it in their mind that you meant something else, and then crank that thing out, and it's not the same image, really. And it can be night and day. It can be absolutely night and day. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth the education. And don't forget, if you pay $70 for a seminar, that's a tax write-off.
It's true. That is true.
So,
really good.
it's not like that money doesn't, you can make that money work for you two different ways. You can access that course, and then you can write it off your bottom line on your income tax, and it's a win-win,
Man. All right. Yeah. No, you're right. It's good advice.
For what it's worth.
Mhm.
All right, fellas,
Absolutely.
you got class coming up. Oh, did you want to follow up on any commentary with your link now, or you want us to email you with what's your desire there?
What, with my reel?
Yeah. Did we critique you sufficiently for now?
I mean,
work
if
in
Sean
progress,
or
right?
George or Keith, we're all usually the last remaining people in these chats. So if you guys want to just tell me really quick, I mean,
There's nothing really for me to add. I'm impressed, but usually it's easy for me to impress me. So I don't think I'm no Simon Cowell. So
thanks, dude. What I will say is that I definitely didn't start here, like, with my work, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be with my career. So
me neither, bro. Me neither. But hey, once we get that Coke one up and running, that would really help us get our feet in the door.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate it, guys. Like anything, like with it, even if your critiques are real nitpicky, like I love criticism on my work, no matter what. So, and I believe in harsh criticism because that's how I think we all get better. Because we all kind of have to be really real with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
By the time of this seminar, we usually get to these like heart-to-heart conversations where we're like talking in analogies and metaphors and everything.
Oh, so self-aware.
Yeah, but
I love that.
Yeah, no. Well, this is the only time of the like in every week where I get to actually talk about film with people like around me. Other than that, I'm just at my desk at my editing rig, just with my face glued to my monitor. So I love coming here and talking about film and everything. So
Yeah, it's really helpful. I just wish we had more of these conversations during all those other classes, because it's mostly the professor just talking, and basically most of the class are just background characters to your story.
that's a really good, wow, you actually like, that's a really good way to put it. Cause like I hate it because sometimes I go to class and everything like that, and like the teachers will say something and like expecting someone to engage in the conversation, and the room is just silent. I don't know about you guys. I hate sitting in silence.
Sometimes I overdo it. There used to be times where I used to tell jokes. This was like earlier, like the first year. Wasn't used to the UCF style, so I used to tell a few jokes in class. So.
Well, you don't want to be disruptive, but I can tell you it's just as hard for an instructor to put an idea out there and just have it just fall on its face, you know?
Oh, no, not like that.
Because here's the deal, right? This is a communication medium, right? And it's reliant on the expression of ideas, the sharing of ideas, critique of creative effort. And if you're not willing to put it out there, and if you're not willing to talk about it, and if you're not willing to hear the feedback, you can't grow effectively. Okay. You won't grow properly. You need to have that nurturing feedback. Even bad feedback sometimes, if it's constructive, can be invaluable to you, right? So you got to kind of not get upset if somebody says, well, I didn't really care for that shot. You know, they're not saying that you suck as a cinematographer or an editor. They just might not be phrasing it in a way that is helping you to, you know, see it from their point of view, and then maybe perhaps make the appropriate adjustments. But you know, when Katie is talking about going to a pitch meeting with Coke and she says, well, if you're too embarrassed to speak up, you can just listen. I'm of the mind, no, absolutely not. If you're at a national pitch session with a major brand and you can't talk, you got no business being there. Now, I know that some people need to sort of ease their way into this realm of professionalism, but this is what these folks expect. They're asking for your feedback. They're asking for your input. Clients don't ask for your input very often. Believe me, they already know what they want. They have an idea of what it's going to take, and they just want somebody to work with them, but they want to be able to exchange ideas in these moments where they're present when the things are happening, and they're saying, look, is it this or is it this? And you need to be able to step in, and you need to be able to provide useful, constructive feedback for those clients. And you can't just be there going, oh, I don't know, what do you want to do? You know, that doesn't work. That doesn't work with any client, let alone Coca-Cola. So
yeah,
you got to step up and be confident, you know. That's why, you know, when you go to class, if you'll get out what you put in, I promise you will. You know, some people are like, well, I don't want to do extra work if I don't have to. It's like, well, what do you consider extra work when you're talking about the difference between you flipping burgers for the rest of your life and you getting a job doing this other thing as a job for the rest of your life? Wouldn't you say that almost anything is in bounds for you, what you're willing to do to achieve that goal? And if getting up and standing in front of a group of people and talking and expressing yourself is part of that demand, then you better be able to meet it. That's all I can say. You know, this is no time. I had to tell this to my writing class the other day. Nobody wanted to volunteer to do a table read on a script. And I said, folks, if you want to be writers and you're too timid to do a table read, you're not going to get very far in this industry. Okay, you can. This is no time to be timid.
I think about that a lot. Like usually I do volunteer, but I don't volunteer right away because I'm like, I'm giving you a chance. No. Okay, then I guess I'll volunteer then.
You should right away distinguish yourself in the group. Now, you don't want to step over somebody. You don't want to.
That's the reason.
and
I don't
deny
want to step
somebody
over anyone.
equal time. But at the same time, you'll just have to develop a sense of timing, right? When should I say, okay, I'm going to step in now and say something because the pregnant pause has been just long enough that I don't want to leave dead air out there. I want to ask my question. Distinguish yourself. You know, there's too many folks that want these jobs and not enough jobs to go around. The only way you're going to get that job and keep that job is if you did something, said something, helped somebody achieve something that was what they needed, what they wanted, and was unique, right? And you were there when they needed, when they asked, right? Nobody wants to chase you down. That's too much work. You know, if they've got a paying gig and they got to chase you down on top of it, you know, that's not a good relationship. It's no time to be timid. Filmmaking is not for the faint of heart.
You kind of contradict with my acting professor a little bit. Like with you, you're like, talk whenever you need to. And then she was like, I'm talking. Can you please not talk over me? I mean, I know the circumstances are a bit different, but it's just hard to know which is a good time and which is a good time to listen and which is a good time to talk because not all of you are the same people. And even if I had a different capstone professor, like let's say if Kate Schultz decided to do this again, then her beliefs might be different from yours. Her lessons could be very different.
I'm actually using Kate's build. So there you go.
Really?
This is Kate's course. The only thing I've changed is a little bit in the taxation section at the end and the professional guest speaker. So that was my contribution to the class. But I took a look at the class and I thought that it was well designed and it was nice and dense and informative. And so I'm using Kate's course architecture right now.
Yeah, Kate is a very individual thinker. That's what makes her blend out from other professors around here.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not giving you advice that says you should be, you know, gregarious or that you should cut people off in conversation. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying if something is asked of you or asked of the group, you should be willing to step up and offer your participation, right? That's what's valuable and that's what's important.
I do understand that. I really do. It's just hard to find the balance. Now, I'm not saying I can't do it because I can and I will. It's just difficult.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
I get it. You'll figure it out. It's not that hard. You'll figure it out. It'll be fun.
Yes. You know what? I will. Yes, you're right. I will. 200%. See, that's the kind of confidence you want, buddy boy.
Absolutely. 110%. That's good enough. That's fair market.
I'm 200. I already said 200. No less.
Okay, done.
Okay, there you go. But then again, I'm willing to negotiate to 180.
All right. Well,
all right.
We knock this one off and call it a day.
All right. I already gave you a message, Matthew, just to let you know.
Yeah, no problem. I'll take a look at it when I can, man. All right.
All right. And is there anyone else I can talk to about the Coke stuff? Like not just the Coke people, but like, is there any like, Mike, do I come to you for like advice for how to do the application and everything?
Sure, you can. And if I can't answer it, I'll get Katie involved and Katie will, let us know what we need to do. But she's got a couple other documents she's going to send me. And then, I'm the go-between. So.
All right, Mr. Ambassador. So you have a,
I like the sound of that.
What?
All right, folks. Have a good afternoon. I'll see you next week.
All right. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.